Hi, I'm Emerald the Quilter. Welcome back to my channel. Last week, I showed you the Perfect 5 quilt book by Itzo Emma and my assortment of charm packs here in my basket. Since the last time, I actually found a charm pack that I had forgotten about because I set it aside. I knew that I wanted to make something out of this fabric for my son. It's called All American by Deb Strain. And this for now is going to go back into the basket because since last week I have chosen which charm pack collection and which pattern to use. So the one that I went with is called Free Spirit by Tulip Pink, and the pattern that I'm going to use is from the one charm pack category called Sugar Cookie Quilt. So we're going to take a look at that. What I liked about this pattern is that the units in each block are large, so some of the motifs in this charm pack are going to show. So I'm just going to tear this open and show you an example of what I mean by that. In this print, the ladybugs are small, so it's pretty good for just about any unit. But when we compare it to one like this, that deer is much larger, and so I would prefer to show more of the deer in a single unit than to maybe chop off its ear or part of its torso. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to show you my background fabric that I selected. This is from the same collection, and it is the cream with bright neon pink dots on it. And to start, we're going to need 36 of these charms. So I'm just going to set this aside. And I'm going to start picking the ones that I know for sure I'm going to keep. So that's 1, 2, I like the ladybugs, they're going to have to stay. 3, this is the same background as this, so I'm going to set this one aside. This is a maybe because it's quite light. 4, this is very bright. You got to have red. I know this is brighter, but you got to have red. 5, cute little animal. 6, yellow. 1, 2, I don't know how I feel about this light gray. It's awfully light like this pink. 3, 4, 5, 6. And this one has a double like the ladybugs, and I'm okay with that. One, 2. This print has raccoons on it in different sizes, and I liked this one so much I went ahead and ordered it online as my backing. So that should be coming in soon. So I have 6, 6, and 3. This is really bright. Looks good with the red. 4, 5, ladybugs. 6. Okay, so now 1. I like this one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 more raccoons. Too bad that one doesn't have another in it. 3. Oh, but this one was an earlier print from here. Very nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I need 6 more for a total of 6. Gotta have the deer. Large prints are must. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now I have 3 left. Excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I have 2 left. I could go in with the teal and the green, or I could swap some of these prints out. And I think I'm inclined to take out this dotted purple because there are already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 purple fabrics. I'm going to put in this green because there's only 1, 2. That's lime green. So now there's 3 of these darker greens. Well, 4 because that one had 2 prints. And do I want this one in or not? I think I like it better than this one. So I'm going to take this one out. I know I'm going to keep those yellows and put this one in. All right, so I will make sure that I have 36, and you will need the Perfect 5 quilt book to get your cutting instructions, but I'm going to go ahead and start cutting my charm packs and my background fabric so that I can prepare them for sewing. So I've laid out all the materials I'm going to need to start cutting. I have my charms in stacks of 3 so that's not too difficult to cut, a design board, my rotating mat, and my rulers and alphabetes. So I'm going to follow the cutting instructions to go ahead and get started. And the charm packs have these little perforated edges, and I am going to cut them off because on this particular charm pack they stick out quite a bit. And they do make a mess, so beware. I'm gonna get 2 units out of this cutting. 1 large rectangle, and I'm going to set those aside. Those are my A's, and I'm just going to put the letter A right next to it. And then I'm going to get 2 B's from the remaining cuts. Keep that yellow one together, and my ladybugs on top. And the alphabetes are great to use so that you don't mix up your cuts, because sometimes you will have the same size for one area of your unit and then the same size for a different area, and so you need to keep them separated. I'm just going to make sure that those edges are all over the lines on my rotating mat so that I can get these little edges off pretty evenly. And I'm going to continue cutting until I have all of these done. Okay, make sure that doesn't move too much. Set those to the side. So just making sure that when I put my B's next down to my A's, I know that I have the stripe on top, the squirrel, and then the ladybug. Makes it easy to chain sew when you keep your fabrics in the same order as you stack them off to the side. Okay. Separating them right now so I don't forget. Okay, and it was ladybug, squirrel, and stripes. checking all my lines on the rotating mat, cutting a straight line. It's really handy to have a rotating mat because you don't have to lift your fabric or move around your table. And it just saves time. I have this one and a green one. The green one doesn't move as freely as this one, but the negative to having one that rotates so easily is that you have to put pressure on your fabric, but also enough pressure to keep it from moving as you slide your blade across the fabric. So I have had an accident a few times when I first got this rotating mat, and I just slightly curved a little bit. It takes practice, but you can get it. Okay, I'm checking my fabrics. Acorns, the bee, and the flower. Cutting this one. Acorns, bee, and the flower. Keeping them in order. So I'm going to go ahead and continue cutting, get all of these done, and then clear off my table so that I can show you how I cut the background fabric. So I finished cutting all my A's and my B's, and I went back and made sure that the few that I had started cutting were actually the right size because they were not. And I saved my mess for you to see. So all these little tiny pieces from the edges are now on the table instead of getting into the quilt. There are some charm packs where these are not as large or they don't stick out past the what's supposed to be the 5 by 5, so the actual charm pack, and they can typically just stay, but when they're this big I do cut them off. So those are going into the trash, and it's time for me to start getting my background fabric out because these are going to be for pieces C, D, E, and F. Yes, my G is going to be binding, which is on the way with my backing. And I was looking at this very heavy folded up fabric and I was trying to remember, why did I buy so much? And I remember it's because this is the first Tula Pink fabric I had ever purchased, and I noticed at the quilt shop that they were very limited in what fabrics I consider, you know, would be good for backgrounds, and so I just bought extra because as a quilter you have to think ahead, and if I want to make more quilts with Tula Pink, then I'm gonna need extra fabric, so I just went ahead and got more. For this particular quilt, you will need 1 1/4 yards, so I'm gonna set these off to the side. My alpha bitties too. Get my ruler out of the way. There is 1, and then I'm going to add 1/4, so right about there. Unfold it, scoot it over just a little bit, and then I can go ahead and cut. So I'm going to cut this off. And I don't want to knock what I have onto the floor. So I'm just eyeballing that. And I'm going to fix this up. I added a little extra, so it's okay that it's not completely straight, but for eyeballing it, it's pretty good. So this is for a rainy day. And now I'm going to iron this flat and begin cutting. So I'm at my ironing board, and whenever you're ironing yardage, I like to fold it in half into a manageable size. So it's folded in half, and the folded edge with all 4 pieces are facing away from me, and I'm going to iron that flat first. This just keeps it from moving around because now I'm going to turn it, and where the fabric is folded over with the fabric, I'm going to make sure that those folded edges are aligned to one another so that when I'm making my larger cuts and I open across the fold, they don't come out curved. If I were to just iron it and these not be aligned, when I cut and then open, they would be not straight, and that's not good. You lose out on fabric that way. So I'm getting rid of any wrinkles. I'm all done. So now this is ready for cutting. So I've got all my pieces cut out, A's, B's, C, D, E, and F. Now, A through D are to make the sugar cookie block, and my E's and F's are for borders. And there were 2 cuts of each, and one of those was supposed to be a little bit shorter, but I just went ahead and left them the same so that I can get a more precise cut at the time of attaching my border. So I'm going to use the pattern now, and I'm going to make the very first block. I'm getting an A and a D, excuse me, a B and a D. And I'm also going to sew a B and a C together. There's a little porcupine on here. And I'm using a Baby Lock Allegro, and it has the cutting feature, which I really like. And I'm just making sure that I press these the right way. I'm not even going to take them to the iron. Simple finger press is fine. And now I'm going to take this one to a unit A, just like that, and then sew these together. So I'm gonna press unit cut A towards the upper seam, and now I'm ready to grab a C, which is one of these, and it's gonna go on here just like this. Matching up my corners. And pressing towards the light. And you may have noticed that on this side of the fabric, you can see the little dots from the selvage because I got really close to the selvage. That's because I like to use as much of the fabric as possible, and it will be inside the 1/4 inch seam, and it's all gone. So that doesn't bother me. Now, to finish the sugar cookie block, I'm going to take this side and this side, sew them together. And I'm going to grab a pin, just one, and take it to the machine. Here we go. I'm going to press down this way. And now that I have all my seams in place, it's ready to be pressed. So here's my sugar cookie block. It came out really cute and went by pretty quickly. And I'm going to make 36 total of these. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and next time I will show you all of my sugar cookie blocks and lay them out together. So if you don't have the Perfect 5 quilt book and you'd like to join me, this is called the Sugar Cookie Quilt. See you next time. Thank you.